Welcome to Inside the Win. We'll break down real-world wins, showing you exactly how strategic partnership with our experts empowers you to tackle your most ambitious opportunities with confidence. Let's jump in.
All right, everybody, welcome to another session. My name is Graeme Scott. I'm the Vice President of Networking and Mobility with Telarus. And joining me here today on the call is the one and only Josh Haselhorst, affectionately known as Haas. Haas, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm awesome, Graham. I'm awesome, man. Thanks for asking me to get on this.
Yeah, we love it, man. We appreciate it. I know you have so many conversations throughout the course of a week, just a lot of great insight to provide to our tech advisors. So we've got a great one here just for the audience. Let you guys know really what the point of this is we're going to talk about a deal. We're going to talk about an actual deal that came into the engineering team, and Josh is going to break it down and walk you through his process, how he started the conversation, where they started, what kind of things they uncovered along the way, and then ultimately where they finished and what that looked like for the TA and the end user customer in terms of success. So without further ado, Josh, let's jump in here right away, both feet. This one kind of came in a unique way, right? Tell us a little bit about how this opportunity came in the door, and you kind of started engaging here without really knowing a whole lot about the customer.
Yeah, the partner engaged me and basically said, hey, Haselhorst, I have a call with XYZ company. They want to talk about firewalls. Can I get on your calendar? Perfect. So we booked a meeting. That's all I knew. We're blind. We're talking about firewalls. That's all I got.
Yeah, and that's great. And so you get on the call and they start asking you questions about firewalls. Then what happens next?
Yeah, so I mean, they introduced me to the customer. This ended up being a global resort management company. And as I was talking to him, I'm thinking in my head, and looking them up and doing some research while I'm talking. But turns out there's hundreds and hundreds of locations, and each location has multiple buildings in each campus. And they were talking, we need to replace some, if not all of our firewalls. So my initial question is why? Well, I mean, why bother? What's the problem? Well, it turns out as they're doing mergers and acquisitions and buying other resorts, every time they buy one, it's got a different OEM, a different manufacturer, a different firewall, a different interface, a different portal, a different management plane. And so this is just impossible, man. We can't, unless we standardize across the organization and standardize on one platform, management and visibility into firewall configs, firmware, patches, this is impossible. It's a full-time job for a whole team.
Right. And these guys, talk a little bit about that team. How many folks did they have on staff to handle what sounds like a fairly significant network?
Yeah, funny enough, they had a pretty big staff. We hear a lot about, oh, these guys are lean IT, so they need help. No, these guys had cybersecurity engineers on staff, network engineers on staff, DevOps guys on staff. They had a team of probably 14 to 15 engineers. Logistics and operations of having staff and talent wasn't necessarily the beginning issue. The beginning issue was I have too many tools, too many management portals to manage. So yeah, I've got 3 guys on my firewall team, but I've got 4, 5, 6 different firewalls that I have to log into, 4, 5, 6 different locations at 100 and something physical campuses. This is just impossible. It's a full-time team of operators just to go hunt down an anomaly in a firewall log.
Yeah, so you've got a fairly significant team, but continuing to need more resources to handle what's going on, feeling limited with what they have. I mean, you're right. We often hear the opposite, but that doesn't mean those problems don't exist in some of these bigger organizations as well, as we saw here. So obviously, you guys start the conversation with firewalls. What kind of questions are you asking the customer when you're on that call to try and really drive to the heart of what's going on here? Where did you start the conversation? What kind of questions did you ask? And, ultimately, let's talk about the information they gave you that really helped you diagnose what the right solution was here.
Yeah, it's funny. We started talking applications, application risk. We started talking what other cybersecurity countermeasures do you have in the organization? And the reason I started talking about that, about things like endpoint detection and response, managed detection and response, is because there's a lot of next-gen firewall platforms out there that have those services embedded natively into the solution, right? There are also some firewalls that are just basic firewalls, URL filtering, content filtering, blacklist, whitelist, port blocking, whatever. But I kind of wanted to get to the what are the, because remember, he said, I have so many tools, we can't do our job. I'm trying to think about, is there a way to collapse some of these tool sets into more of an all-in-one platform and reduce those tool sets so we can actually do our jobs daily, right? As that conversation morphed and grew into the okay, I've got CrowdStrike for this, and I've got Rapid7 for this, and all I'm thinking is more tools, more management, more tools, more management. And then we got into the conversation of what do you have visibility into? Like if there's an issue, how do you know there's an issue at a campus or one of your small locations or the coffee house? He said, I get phone calls. Like internet's down, I
Yeah.
get a phone call. Or my POS application is clocking, I get a phone call. And I have no way of having any visibility to easily troubleshoot what's going on in any location that I'm getting a trouble ticket on.
So despite all the tools, right, all the things, you've got this overwhelming amount of portals and platforms that you're working in, you still don't have the information you need.
No, and in fact, so at that point, their network architects started getting on the call, and we started talking about internet and
Yeah.
transport. What kind of connectivity do you have? Are you running, DIA and broadband and 4G and satellite and whatever, right? And the answer was yeah, kind of all of the above. It depends on the use case, depends on the state, the country. If I have access, sometimes I need satellite, sometimes I need point to point, whatever, right? And the next question was, how do you have visibility into transport? How do you know if a circuit is up or down? How do you know if a application is slow? Do you have any way to proactively manage a problem? Or is it always somebody's going to call you with their hair on fire? And it was yeah, we don't see anything because we buy directly from the internet carriers at every single one of these locations. So any problem that I have to escalate to the carrier, I have to call Spectrum for that location and Cox for that location and Comcast for that one and Nitel for that one. My God. So we started uncovering something even more sinister than I need new firewalls.
Yeah. And I love that because, if you had sort of stopped the questioning after you talked about the firewall port, right? You knew, hey, the problem was too many portals. We can bring in one platform and do that. But you continued the conversation to talk about what was going on at the network level as well, because I think, that is something that we really, try to get our TAs to focus on is, hey, just ask that extra question, right? Ask that one additional question to figure out what else is going on within there. You've got one problem, sure. We know they've got an issue with their portals, but asking that extra question ended up uncovering a lot more opportunity, right?
Yeah, it did. And people, what keeps you up at night and blah, blah, blah. People don't buy anything unless it's painful enough that they have to.
Yeah.
So I wasn't asking him what keeps you up at night and what's the pain or whatever, but just having a flowing conversation, we kind of uncovered that I need a new firewall wasn't the most painful thing going on in there. The most painful thing going on in there is I have no idea what's going on at any of my locations because I have no way to have a centralized management plane where I can see things and proactively troubleshoot. I don't have a technology issue. I have a logistics and operations issue.
Yeah. So obviously at this point, you feel like you've got a pretty good idea of what's going on in the landscape. Were there any additional surprises that popped up during the conversation? Anything else that kind of jumped in that you were able to sort of take a look at as well?
I think one of the other things that came up was we have this team, and our team works pretty much 8 to 5. We don't, but our buildings, our campuses, our resorts are 24-hour resorts.
Right.
So even if I had visibility into everything in the world from 8 to 5, what what happens when something goes wrong at one of these big resorts that's making $1 million a day at 8 o'clock at night?
Right.
Uh, uh-oh, right? So then it
Yeah.
became, do I need an after-hours support world? Do I need to hire more people? And really the answer was no. What we needed to do is we needed to find a global systems aggregator to suck in the telemetry of all pipes from all carriers and bring them into a network operations center as a service, put it in a co-managed way so they get visibility and read-write access into absolutely everything during business hours. But after business hours, you've got a 24/7, 365 network operations center doing everything for you. And what did that just do? One, reduced all the tool sets that they had to use to manage, everything. Two, they never had to deal with an underlying carrier ever again. And three, now they got a 24/7 network operations center that they pay a monthly subscription fee to and fixed all of the logistics and operational holes. And we still haven't gotten into the firewall yet. That deal alone, Graham, was $55,000 in monthly reoccurring. And they signed without a hesitation.
Wow. See, I love
We haven't even gotten to the firewalls yet. We'll get to
haven't
there.
even talked about the firewalls yet. Yeah. So obviously you're talking solutions now. We pitched the operation center, whatever. Let's talk about what steps you needed to take to kind of help the TA close this one. You've done a pretty good job of laying out the case. Anything special that you kind of brought to the table, or any special points that you brought in to close this?
Yeah, and it's super common for everybody to get excited, myself included. Oh, this is a huge project. We're going to do everything. We can do this and that and this and that and this and that and this. Stop. Slow down.
Yeah.
We cannot boil the ocean, even though we want to. We want to tell these customers we can do anything and everything for you. But when you throw 75 options on the plate, you know what the decision is made is none, right? It's confusing, it's overwhelming, it's just too much. So it really was everybody, even the customer, take a step, take a breath. We need to prioritize everything. Step one, the most painful thing in the world is I have no visibility into up, down stats of is my internet up, internet down, applications or whatever. Step one. So it was okay, stop. We got that covered. Let's bring in this aggregator, show them the portal, show them the level 3, support mechanism and the engineering pods that they get and the network operations center and bingo, let's get that done. And why was that important? Because that was the most painful part of this situation.
The most painful part. Mm-hmm.
So let's take that most painful part, and now I can breathe. But hear me out on this one. We started with a firewall conversation, right? I didn't even know if we have budget for firewalls. It didn't matter at that point. The money that we saved them in time dealing with the direct circuit ISPs, the visibility, the money we save them in time and cost is going to fund the next project. So let's get them to breathe easy. I can go home now. I don't have to stay late. I can see everything even remotely. Yay. And accidentally, the byproduct was a huge cost savings, right? They paid, paying $55,000 a month, but they were doing $55,000 a month in just man hours chasing their tails.
Yeah. I love that.
We have to stop them sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So just sort of, hey, let's kind of take this thing down one piece at a time, because you're absolutely right. A big project like that can be paralyzing, right? And sometimes, hey, maybe it's painful doing things the way we are now, but at least we kind of know what we're doing. So bringing in something like that, it has to be simple and it has to be rolled out. So I love that, breaking that into pieces. So let's talk about where the deal is now, Josh. So obviously we've kind of rolled out, we started with phase one. I assume we moved to some additional phases. Anything interesting that you uncovered as you were implementing some of these services?
Yeah, so as the aggregator was putting in circuits and bringing them into the NOC, remember I told you these guys had a pretty big staff. They had a couple of their resorts that were large resorts that had a bunch of their own server and storage arrays on-prem in their own wiring closets. Well, the staff is remote staff, right? That was the whole point of doing the management and visibility plans, so I can manage these things remotely. So the conversation internally to the customer was, maybe we should get rid of some of these on-prem servers and storage arrays. Maybe we should start sending these to public clouds, private clouds, a hybrid of sorts or whatnot. They determined that their equipment, their servers and storage, were fairly new. They had a pretty big investment in them. So nobody wanted to even me, nobody wanted to rip and replace and okay, throw that stuff in the garbage. Your investment is gone. That's just going to get people in trouble, right? So basically, it was a lift and shift of existing gear. Let's put it in a co-location facility on the eastern seaboard or east coast and another one on the west coast. And
Yeah.
now I've got geo-redundant DCs. Basically, we're just doing colo, right? But we spun that up in seemed like less than 30, maybe 60 days. And just that colo migration was another 40 grand in monthly recurring.
Wow. Love that, man. That's so
We
great.
still haven't talked about firewalls,
You
Graham.
still haven't talked
Yeah.
about firewalls. Yeah, I love that.
But why?
So,
Because the firewalls weren't the most painful thing. That was what the network architect and the security guy wanted to talk about. Yes, and we're gonna get there, but that wasn't the most painful thing.
so let's bring this baby home here, Josh. So I assume at some point we did talk about the firewalls. Where did we end up there with the firewall solution?
So we're still in talks. When we determined which global aggregator was correct, we had already had conversations with the client of potentially what next gen firewalls would be the best fit for them. So we rattled off some OEM names, right? Should this be a Fortinet play? Should it be a Cato play or whatever? But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, if I can lock down probably potentially what are the 3 or 4 firewalls that are perfect fits here, I'm going to table that and put that under my sleeve. And the aggregator we're going to bring to the table, I already know in the back of my head are proficient in Meraki's and Fortinets and Catos and Versas. I already know this. So flipping that next switch, which is the next project, is literally just add them to your contract. You're already working with these guys. You already love them. Let them deploy these things out. And by the way, in the same management portal that you have all your NOC services and circuit services with. So not another tool, Graham.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we started with firewall. We're what, about 100 and what was the number on this one? Where are we so far with billing?
So
120,000-ish, somewhere
yeah,
around
total
there.
MRR booked and invoicing today is about $120,000 in monthly reoccurring. Obviously, at whatever commission percentage to the agent. So a really, really good deal. But we have another 60 grand to go.
Yeah. And we still haven't sold them any firewalls.
Now, and you know what's cool about it? Like, because they love the aggregator that we brought to the table so much, they don't even, the end user doesn't even engage the partner or me anymore. We're still in talks about the firewalls and should it be at SASE or SD-WAN or whatever, right? But they just order directly from the aggregator. I need another circuit, order. I need another this, order. I need another that, order. And it just keeps building and building and building. And nobody in the Teleris ecosystem or even that partner ecosystem has to make any effort at all. It just keeps growing and the partner just keeps making more and more money every single month.
Love it. So let's wrap up here with a few lessons learned. I think obviously the big one that I take away from this is, hey, regardless of where you start with the conversation, asking a couple of questions here and there along the way, you never know where you're going to finish up. This one started out with firewalls. Yeah, we might get there eventually with some firewalls, but you've sold a whack of stuff in between without even talking about the firewalls. Josh, am I on point with that, or any other lessons you took from that?
Yeah, and we hear it all the time, right? Hey, sell me this. Hey, sell me that. Or I want to buy this, or I want to. We have to slow down sometimes. Me talking slow down. I talk so fast; it's hard for me to slow down.
Yeah.
But we need to uncover what the real pain is. What is the real project, and what is really driving the customer to say, "I think I need this," or "I think I need that." What? Because usually that's not the real project. That's an ancillary piece of the real project. We've got to find the real pain and the real project, and we got to fix that first.
Yeah, love that. When they come to you with a product they want to buy, let's dig a little deeper and find out why, right? Like
Yeah.
what business outcome are you trying to achieve by purchasing this product? And I think obviously this scenario gave us a really good example of how that can play out to the benefit of both the customer and the tech advisor at the end of the day.
Yeah, these type I call them wrap accounts, but these things are not unique. They are super, super common. And partners and selling agents out there, they don't have to know all this stuff. They got the hardest job in the world. Book a meeting. Bring
Yeah.
your Teleris engineers to the table. We will pull out the shovels and we will dig for the real use case.
Yeah. Well said, my friend. Way to end it up. Thank you so much for joining us. Folks, hope you enjoyed this session. Don't forget, we got plenty more of these coming out. Hope you caught our last one with Jason Stein and Trevor Burnside. That's it for us for now. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much.